Hi guys, welcome back to Creative Making. My name's Pete and today I'm going to be looking at intrinsically colouring polymer clay. So on the last video I said this. So Super Sculpey, pretty standard stuff. I'm going to be colouring this later on, I'll show you how to do that. But I didn't actually tell you in the end, so I thought I'd do this as kind of an update on the previous video. So yeah, so let's have a look, see what it's all about. Okay, polymer clay, what is that and what is intrinsically colouring? Before we start the video properly, I'm just going to explain that, and we're going to start off talking about polymer clay. So this is Super Sculpey, and this is Super Sculpey Ultra Light. This is Sculpey Translucent. And this is Cosclay, Flesh Colour, Cosclay Grey, and we've got some Fimo. These are all polymer clays, you can get loads more. Cernic, Bees Putty, there's millions of them. But before we get into that, let's just have a look at what we can use it for. So this little guy here, as you saw in my last video, is sculpted in Super Sculpey. It's all hard and it's all painted. But what you might have noticed in the last video is that I intrinsically coloured the Super Sculpey. Let's just have a look at what we mean by intrinsic colouring. So this model here of Wolfman and his victim, this is a 3D printed model. As you can see, it's all colourful, it's got this snotty blood and mud everywhere. But this is actually extrinsic colouring, and by that I mean this is painted. So the model originally was grey and I've painted on the outside, so we've put the colour extrinsically. This, however, this is a beautiful sculpture by an American artist called Jonathon Payne, and this is made completely in Super Sculpey, and Jonathon has made this and coloured this by adding colour into the Super Sculpey. So you can see this here, all these pinks and the little dots there, birthmark or whatever. This is colouring that's been added into Super Sculpey. And then as Jonathon has made this, he's added little bits and blended it in to give it that kind of really natural, translucent, intrinsic colouring. There's a brilliant video on YouTube and I will leave a link below. And it kind of shows you, briefly, but it shows you Jonathon's process in making one of these sculptures. He calls these fleshlets. I'll also leave a link to Jonathon's website. The only paint or the only coating that Jonathon has put on these is clear acrylic medium to give some of the areas a slightly different specularity or shininess, if you like. Okay, so now we know the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic. We're going to look at a couple of different ways of adding colour into polymer clay. For the purpose of this particular video, we're going to use Super Sculpey. Seems to be the most popular. So in order to colour that, we can use these. Now you can see there's packets of Fimo, but the smaller blocks of colour are Sculpey Original. And you can buy those in packs, kind of like a sample pack of different colours. Some of them have got glitter in them if that's your thing. But we can use these as pigments. So let's give it a go. So the first thing we need is something to mix our Sculpey. I use a pasta roller because I'm lazy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to rip up a bit of Super Sculpey. And we're going to rip it into 4 pieces there. We'll have one as our kind of control, if you like. And we're just going to run these bits through the pasta roller and to condition the clay. By that I mean it just softens it up. So we're going to take this green and we're going to rip off 3 different size blobs. Large, medium and small. we're going to mix those bits of colour into the Super Sculpey. Bit more work on the old pasta machine, and we just keep on whizzing it through, folding it over and whizzing it through, and as we do this it just squashes that green in and gives the whole thing a really good even colour. This is our original colour, no colour in that, that's how it comes. This is our green. I also went and did the other one, so it got slightly darker, and although you can't really tell on this screen, that is slightly darker as well. So we've got a really great colour to start with. The only thing with this is, it is just a flat colour, and that could be great for all kinds of things, but for what we want, we might want to make it a little bit more natural. So there we go, those different greens. If we want to make that a little bit more natural, we can play about with these. Now these that I've got here are rayon fibres or flock, and these are designed for colouring silicone and, in our case, Super Sculpey. We've also got some natural wool roving there. I normally use this for veins on eyes, but let's just have a quick look at the flock. You can buy this all over, but you can see I've got this from Titanic FX in Belfast. They've got a great range of products. But yeah, let's have a look at this. So the flock is made up of millions of little tiny particles of rayon fibre, very, very short. We can add that into the Super Sculpey and we can play about. We can add lots of different colours. We can just put red, we can put blues, we can just really play about with it. And as you'll see in a minute, the great thing about this is that you'll get a real natural tone to the skin. We can also add these fibres in as well to give the Sculpey a more veiny approach, and again we'll see that in a second. I'll put links for all of these things down in the notes. So let's mix some of this into some of our Sculpey, and we'll see if we can get colours that are a little less flat than these colours. Get the pasta roller and the drill out again. Oh yeah, I spelt it right this time. Just a quick side note, you can see that I use a drill for operating my pasta roller. They do come with a handle, but it's hard work. And as I said earlier on, I'm lazy, so I just took the plastic thing off the handle, straightened it out so I can stick it in my drill. They also come with a clamp. You can put those onto your desk, but they're not very good, so I tend to put them on this big board. It's a heavy board, and I can clamp that as well if I want to. Okay, so let's try colouring some Sculpey with some of the flock. So we'll start off by smashing this Super Sculpey up, and we're going to put it through the roller, and as before, this is going to condition the Sculpey. So we're going to need to put a little bit of red flock in this time, and we're going to do the same thing as we did before. We're just going to fold it, put it through the machine, fold it, put it through the machine, and we'll just keep on doing that till the flock is evenly distributed. You don't need a pasta roller, by the way, but it'll just save your hands. And there we go. You can see already the difference there. It's a lot pinker than the original. You can also make out it's not such a flat colour, it's a more natural speckliness to it. So yeah, let's try another one. A little bit of red. And this time we'll put a bit of blue in there as well. So same thing, fold it, whiz it, fold it, whiz it, and just keep on doing that. Sometimes you can stop part way through and you get really nice interesting patterns, but we'll just keep on going. I'm going to try another one, and I'm going to do red. I'm also going to do a little bit of blue, as before. And on this one, I'm also going to do a little bit of green. This is a similar method that's used in maxillofacial prosthetics. They often use flocks or mica powders to colour their silicone. So we've got those three colours in there: red, green and blue. And as before, you've guessed it, we're going to fold it and we're going to put it through the machine, and we're just going to keep on doing that until it's all mixed evenly. You can see here there's really interesting patterns all over that. You could stop there and use that in your sculpture, get some really interesting coloration. But we'll continue. Okay, and there we are, pretty much done, I think. Last squeeze through. And there we go. So here's a few others that I've done. So let's just have a look at what we've got. First of all, we've got original. Original with red, red and blue, red, blue and green. So let's have a look at what we've done so far. This is our original Sculpey. We've got tiny green, bit more green up there. And then down here we've got red, red and blue, red, blue and green. So what happens if we mix these together? Well, we'll have a look in a minute. We haven't tried this yet. So let's just have a quick look at the natural wool roving. You can get it in different shades of red. This is particularly interesting. It looks quite bright, but when it's mixed into the Super Sculpey, it gives you a very natural kind of red veining. So I'm just going to throw some of this through the pasta machine. I won't bore you, you've seen the process. So let's just mix that in a little bit by hand. I'm not cutting up the fibres, I'll leave them full length, and as they go through the pasta machine they'll kind of get randomly torn as they get stretched and mixed into the Super Sculpey, so you get a more natural finish to it. So here we go then. You can see straight away it's really mottled. There's our original colour and there's our Super Sculpey. And the great thing with this is if you're doing thin ears or thin skin or something like that, not only does it look great to start with, but if you have thin ears and there's light passing through, because don't forget Sculpey is quite translucent, you get a real cool, natural, realistic kind of veiny ear. Somewhat similar to what you would see on the inside of a rabbit's ear. But let's have a look. This is a little light panel, so let's put these on. And that's the one with veins, and that's the one without. And you can see immediately the difference and how cool that looks and how natural that looks. And don't forget, you don't have to use red fibres. You can use whatever colour you want. But yeah, that looks super realistic. Very, very cool. And even with the light off, it still looks very cool. So here we go, this is our final mix. You can see there's a couple being added there. So that's our original colour. Original Super Sculpey with a little bit of green, a little bit more and a little bit more. And then here we've got red, flock, red and blue. Yeah, red and blue, yeah, that's it. Red, blue and green. And then here we've got just the veining fibres. And then this monstrosity, this I decided to have a play about with. And this is this green, which is why it's a little bit smaller now, and veining fibres and green flock. And you see the difference. So you can kind of start to imagine the range of base colours you can add to your Sculpey characters. And the great thing with this is you don't really need to do much painting afterwards. You've kind of got a good base. Sometimes, like in the last video, I'll do this on the character and then I'll get carried away by the paint and you don't really see it. So what would happen if I mixed all of these colours together that we've got now? Let's have a look. And here we go. This is it. This is all of our colours mixed together. A big green blob. That's how it started. I know it sounds a bit weird, but this would be great if you could play with it more for maybe a Hulk character. And you still bake it. It's still malleable. You can squash it all up. And you still blend it together just like that, and then you can still put it in the oven. Super Sculpey is not baked at such a high temperature, so it's not going to kill anybody or anything. So there you go, guys. Simple as that. Give it a try next time you're working with Super Sculpey and see what you think. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, hit the like button below, and if you haven't already done so, please consider hitting that subscribe button. That's it from me. I've been Pete, and until next time, bye.